Well, hello. This is your old pal, Tyler Snodgrass. I'm going to be doing a little drawing tutorial. This is my first one. I am just doing a screen recording of my iPad. I'm using Procreate, and this might be terrible and never gets released, in which case, possibly, if you are seeing this, you are my child and I am dead. Otherwise, I thought it was okay, and I put it out there for the world, and we'll see how it goes. I am working on the popular quarantine activity, drawing 6 fan arts. I have gotten 6 suggestions via Instagram. I've drawn 3 of them, as you can see. We've got Cherry Garcia, we've got Arthur's friend, and Diddy Kong's dad over here. And the next one I'm going to work on is someone from Cuphead was the suggestion. And I have chosen to draw one of the villains in their final form, or bosses, I guess, Cala Maria. All right, so let's go ahead and draw that. So my method for this is I use a ton of layers. So you can see I have a rough draft layer that's selected right now. So that's just all pencil. I use a blue pencil tool. I have it really light, low opacity, and then I am going to be drawing in ink, which is a reference layer, and then that allows these like coloring and details to be added pretty easily. I don't know how long this is going to take, so I might just do one drawing for this video, and we'll see how much negative feedback keeps me from doing any more. But first of all, the rough draft. So I'm looking at a picture of Cala Maria on my computer, so you can't see it, but I'm taking a look, and I'm going to figure out how I want to rough draft this. So it looks like the head is kind of like this. Pull an eraser here. So I'm just usually drawing. I'm no expert, but I'm just kind of drawing big shapes. And that's going to be how I get started. I'm going to go ahead and actually move this hand over a little bit. We'll have that coming off the screen. She's got a little bathing suit. All right. So the body's starting to take shape. As you can see, she got these like big old eyes. Now, I know that you're supposed to draw this in your own style. There's a car going by. And this one kind of feels like cheating because I already tend to draw kind of like 30s style cartoons, which is, you know, the style of Cuphead is all rubber hose, if you haven't played it before. Also, if you have only played a little bit of Cuphead, this might be a spoiler if you're bad at the game and you haven't gotten this far yet. Because this is, like I said, the boss's final form. Give myself a lot of details to draw. The reason I do this rough draft is I'm really bad with spatial organization, and so I like to be able to kind of illustrate this ahead of time so that I can just like adjust as I need to. Pretty much those 3 previous drawings I've had to, during my rough draft, I had to like move things around a bit. That's going to be an eel right there. And then we'll draw another eel right here. We'll see those more in a little bit. Okay, I think that's fine. Also, I apologize if my mic is a little hot. I'm trying to talk quietly. I did some tests, and I think that the mic is pretty sensitive, so this might have sort of an ASMR experience to it. I hate ASMR. It makes me want to like poke Q-tips into my ears until I can't hear anything anymore. But if you love it, hey, more power to you. And maybe this is exactly your deal. Okay, so I'm going to be using a studio pen that I think I've slightly adjusted to have a little more streamline, and I think I adjusted the taper slightly. But other than that, it's the native studio pen in Procreate. I'm in my ink layer up here. So I guess we'll just dive in and see how this goes. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to take, that's a bad start. Okay, we're going to take that. I'm going to hold so that the quick line occurs. There you go. I get a nice curved line there. Sorry, this sniffles because I do all year. Okay, so we'll do that. This quick line tool really is helpful. I use it a lot because my hand isn't as steady when I haven't had a few drinks, and it's only noon, so I only had one so far. All right, a little eyeball. I hope this is like somewhat relaxing to see. I know I'm not talking the whole time because, well, what could I possibly have to say the whole time? Okay, we're going to redo that. I'm redoing, if you're new to Procreate or you're watching this as like a how does someone use Procreate, I use the undo gesture all the time. The undo gesture is just a single tap with two fingers. And it makes drawing really easy because you can't really make any mistakes because you can just always take a step backwards. All right, so this character is starting to take shape now, it looks like. So far, this is a very faithful drawing. Not really in a uniquely me kind of style. We'll see if I can spice it up at any point. All right, time to draw a little snake head. She has a octopus Medusa combo head going on. How do I want that to look? Yeah, good enough. So I am kind of switching up the way that these eyes look. I really love this, like, just kind of like Paper Mario eyes style, where they're just like little ovals. So something that I'm trying to do when I'm drawing is have lines very deliberately placed. Like, I don't want this line to go here, right? Because then that like just looks, you don't know what's really going on there. So to signify that that's like part of the neck of this snake, do snakes have necks? I'm drawing it underneath the teeth. That's just a little pro tip from someone who is not at all a pro. Let's get one more snake in there. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. So here's how that's coming along. Now this third snake head, a little bit big. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't love how much bigger it is than the others. So I'm just going to make a quick adjustment. I'm going to do a little bit of erasing right there and right here. And my solution is I'm going to increase the size of this first one. So I'm using my select tool now. That's that little S ribbon looking thing at the top. I'm going to do a little lasso here. And we're just going to grow it a little bit. Now this can make the line a little blurrier than these others. I know that's a little subtle, but I notice it and I hate it. So sometimes I'll go through and like kind of erase the edges to smooth them out. I can use like a hard airbrush that's really tiny. And if I want to be really nitpicky, I'll do something like that. This is far from essential, and I realize I should just focus on like, finishing the drawing, but here we are. Okay, let's get that little octopus, dead octopus head drawn. Oh, this is fun. Let's do that. Make these eyes coming off the head. That's a look I like a lot. Cute. Okay. Draw a slightly thinner line right here for their little stomachs. Okay. And we'll get the rest of her hair drawn right here. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Now the hard part, hands. Science has shown that hands and bicycles are the two hardest things to draw. Literally no one has ever done it correctly. So we're going to attempt it, and I'm kind of cheating. You'll notice that in my rough draft I have these little eels, which are annoying little guys in the game. They're popping up from the bottom, and they're going to help me cover some of these hands so that I don't have to work so hard at them. So I'm going to start with the eyes on these guys. They have teeth, which is fine, I guess. You know what? I was going to say bad, but you know what? Good for them for having teeth. At least they're not toothless like the Democrats, am I right? This is a political show. They also have ears for some reason. Maybe they're like dogs. Really, I'm addressing a lot of things. I'm learning a lot of things about these cartoons. All right. I'm going to make this pie-eyed, but first, we're just going to do that. So now to make this pie-eyed, that's a little too big. So Sorry, having to redo things. We're going to take our eraser, make it real tiny, and just cut a slice of pie out, just like that. There you go. Look at that. And we'll draw another one of these little guys that's basically the same thing. Put some detail in to show that this is their sea mohawk thing. This one looks way more messed up than the other, but you know what? I'm gonna keep it. He is a little freak, and hey, that's okay. One thing is he's a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna wind up shrinking him in a second using my old lasso trick, kind of the opposite of what I did for that snake a second ago. So let's go ahead and lasso him. No offense, but he needs to be a little thinner. And we'll just shrink him like that. You probably noticed that there's a lot of different select options. The one I'm using right now is called Freeform. I'll use another option called Automatic later. But the Freeform lets you just kind of select things normally. I'm going to try to make this look a little more consistent with the first one, but not like I copy and pasted the first one, because I didn't. If I did, I would admit it, but I didn't. Okay, great. Let's draw the rest of her. Okay, so I'm going to draw, let's see what the move is going to be. I am going to draw part of one of her hands, which is going behind the eel, very conveniently. She's got these pointy little fingers. Again, I'm trying to avoid lines that like cross like at the tip of something else. I want it to be defined, like that finger to be defined and not lose its definition by intersecting at the wrong point. Draw the bathing suit. Draw that other shoulder. Hope I'm not making anybody seasick with all the rotations I'm doing. I'll just leave that the way it is. Okay. All right, this other hand. Looks different than the first hand. So let's see if I can make that a little more consistent. That's a little better. Kind of Freddy Krueger-ish, but you know what? That's okay. When you're doing art for free because you're bored, I'm going to say it's okay to not stress too much about that. Okay, so we're going to do that. Great. And now what we're going to do is, in order to make all these things enclosed shapes, I'm going to connect some straight lines. I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit. Boop. Drag it down to where it's normal again. That's going to, even though the box is going to be a bit off, that's going to make me feel better about how that octopus head interacts with the whole box. And I'm actually drawing above the Draw Your 6 fan art, kind of like guideline templates that this person made. So again, I'm using what's called quick line, which is where I'm just dragging across, drawing across, and then holding for a second. If you're drawing a straight line, it'll snap. If you're drawing a somewhat recognizable shape, whether it's curved or with points, it'll snap. And now, watch this. Okay, so that's in the ink reference layer. I can hide my rough draft. This is what we're left with. I feel pretty okay about that. I don't think we're missing anything. Oh. Got to make sure that all your lines connect. So that's going to be a problem later, unless I fix it. And is there anything else I am missing? Yeah, I'm going to fix this snake real quick. I know you're all dying for color, but oh yeah, that's way better. Okay. So now, because this layer is already a reference layer, I do that by tapping a second time on this ink layer. Reference is checked, you can see there. What that allows me to do is when I go to my main color section, you see when I toggle that on and off, I have kind of this base layer of color before I add details or background color. And what I'm going to do is find a color close enough so she's kind of a seafoam green skin tone. And we're going to drop that in. Oh, but see, look, I undid something, so... But that color saved in my history. This is, oops, honestly, a lot of Procreate is like, for me, for my workflow, is like making sure that I'm either coloring in the right layer and then undoing things when I haven't, or just like making sure that all my lines are in the right place. But you can see I'm just dragging and dropping color out. Super convenient way of coloring things in. Do. Just like that. Okay. So her bathing suit and little mermaid tail at the bottom is also green. And what I like to do is stay in this same portion. I can actually just drag this darker. And even though that's not exactly the same way that it's drawn, I kind of like that it's the same, you know, kind of in the same family. And also, I should say, the reason I have my main color and my ink on different layers is because it allows me to color underneath the lines. Like, watch this. I can color underneath these snakes instead of between them, which is really handy when you start adding details or if you make a mistake or something like that. So that's why I do all of that. I put great effort into making sure that all my layers are neurotically separated. Okay, so this green, I want to stick with this green. I'm going to use the Harmony tool real quick. That's a somewhat new feature in Procreate, and it'll show you things across from each other. So I'm going to choose this pink, and that's what the tongue is going to be. And then I'm going to make this darker, and that's what the mouth is going to be. And that creates kind of a fun color palette. In fact, why don't I just go ahead? I'm going to make the Octopus Snakes the exact same color. On the actual game, they're a little bit more of a, it's hard to tell, they're a little bit more of a common purple than this. But I kind of like this. I'm going to make this a little more red for that snake mouth. Let's go back to this. I'm going to pull this color up again, and we're going to have a nice light kind of pink purple. Let's go a little lighter. All right, neato. Okay. So we've colored those things in pretty quickly. I'm going to grab just a regular yellow real quick for her eyes. And now we'll move on to our little eels. So we're just going to choose like a basic tan. Whoop, easy. Go slightly darker by dragging that slider down. Color in anything that the color drop didn't quite get to. I'm going to use the same color for her eyes. Actually, I'm going to make that slightly lighter. I know it's like almost no different, but okay. And we're going to make that their eyes also. You can see I really utilize the drag and drop extremely often. Okay, that feels pretty good. So for there being no detail yet, just like the base color, I think that's pretty fun. I think that is all right. So let's do some other cool tricks. So let's go ahead and work on the background. My reference photo has this like gorgeous watercolory looking background, which you've probably seen something like if you've seen Cuphead before. So what I'm going to do is in the background area, I'm going to now utilize that select tool and automatic. And when I tap, oh, what's going on? When I tap in the background, maybe my threshold, there we go, my threshold was too high, which I can adjust that by dragging left or right. You see that blue bar at the very top. The threshold determines like how much it's gonna bleed. I want it to get pretty close to bleeding all over the place. Okay, so I select that. Now when I select a coloring tool, notice everything is grayed out except for the white background. And I'm going to choose kind of a bright orange. We're going to go over to this section called Aurora. Let's lower this down. And Aurora actually has a bunch of different colors that happen. Pretty. Kind of looks like flames though. So now I want to smooth things out just a little bit. Let's do some light pink. Nope, that's not what I want. Maybe a little bit of this in there too. Okay, and now I'm going to try to blur this out a little bit. If I blur it, yeah, that's not great. Okay, let's undo a few things. I like where I'm going, but something's not quite right. Maybe this kind of pink is what I'm looking for. Oh yeah. So we're just gonna color that in everywhere. And then we'll scooch this over and have just it be a little brighter in a couple areas. That's way better. I like that way more. And now in background detail, which is a layer above the background, so it's going to block it out, I'm just going to color in some waves. So I'm going to choose a nice bright blue. And oh, I forgot I have like a mask. I have like a filter on. So we're just going to create a new layer. And that's okay. It's a little smaller. And now we'll add a little bit of white. We're going to make this real small. Okay, and you know what? For me, that'll work. I think that's okay. All right, let's add some fun stuff. This is the minor details that I really like adding, but to your normal person might be a little boring. So if you've seen enough, I understand. But what I'm going to work on now is adding shadow. If I turn my opacity layer on and off, and you look, especially at Jerry Garcia, you can see the shadow or opacity layers add quite a bit. And then detail is also something that I'm going to play with. So let's go ahead and do the opacity first. For this, I just like to use plain white or black, and I like to use my classic studio pen here, and I'm just kind of guessing where shadow would go. I'm drawing it and then just coloring it in. This is something I do a lot. This is maybe the most like therapeutic feeling part of a drawing for me. Let's see what's next. This kind of thing, I feel like I really hope people notice, and I probably should assume that people do notice it, but it's definitely like the thing that I feel like makes a big difference in my own drawings. And maybe I'm just telling myself that because I spend that extra time working on it. I don't like that, so I'll just leave that one alone. That's fine. Alright, so I like that. I don't know what else I really need to add. Like just a little bit of shadow here and there. Okay, fun. And now what you can do if you want with the same amount of opacity is maybe you add something that adds like a little bit of, almost adds like a glossiness. This is the kind of thing I like spend hours, not hours, but way too long undoing and redoing sometimes. But look, it kind of makes things look like they're a little shiny. It's kind of fun. I feel like I picked this up from trying to imitate the way some Pokemon are colored. So that's what I think it is. I could be wrong, but make that a little bigger. Ooh, too big. Ooh. I'm gonna give, to make these look just a little bit more like the original, I'm gonna color in part of their faces without a line, because I feel like there's just too much detail going on, but I'm gonna go ahead and lighten this part up of their face. Yeah. Everybody say hi to Emma. Bye. She says bye. Okay, I think we are pretty much done with this. You're like, surely, hopefully. I'm going to go ahead and add detail here. And I think that very well could be a finished product. Just for kicks, I'll show you one other thing in the detail section that can be pretty fun to do. If you want to add like pattern or something, I'm going to use the automatic tool again, and let's select inside these snakes' bellies. And I'm going to go to this new texture section that I got for free from downloading this thing from True Grit Texture. They're not paying me to say that, but I thought I'd mention it in case anybody, wants it. And like I said, so everything, because of the way that I did the selection, everything is grayed out, and now I can just like add like this fun stripe to everything. And if I don't like it, I can get rid of it, but I think that I actually like that. You can do a similar thing with the regular select, so like, or the freehand, I mean. So like if I just wanted to add a little bit of detail, for example, maybe I was going to add just like a detail over here. I can lasso the area that I want there to be detail of, and I can just like leave that detail in like that. This is a really fun thing to do if you're using like a newsprint style texture. And in this case, I am not doing that, but that's how you would. I'd like to find a place to add it, but I'm just worried about adding too many textures right now. Let's see if there's anything else. I was thinking of something maybe with how these eels are electric, but it could be a little dicey. How would I do that? So let's try this. I'm going to create another new layer underneath main color, which is now my layer 12. I'm going to choose the same color yellow that I used before. Let's go into the luminance and light pen, and I'm just going to try to color. That doesn't work. Let's go here and see if it works this way. Oh, that's kind of fun. Kind of looks electric, doesn't it? Because these little bastards shoot electricity at you. This will also help maybe distract from how bad I am at drawing hands. This is a tool that comes with Procreate. If you haven't tried it before, the luminance tools are awesome. I use them. I mean, they're silly, but I use them a lot. Okay, and then just the only last thing to do is to erase this little bit at the bottom. Okay, and that's it. That is someone from Cuphead, more specifically, Cala Maria. You gotta see her. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I hope that was fun. Maybe I'll do one again, maybe not. I have no idea how long this took, but thanks for watching.